I'm going to call our meeting to order. We're going to, if you would, rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask Alderman Benson to lead us in prayer. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Our Father in heaven, we are grateful for the day that you've given to each of us. Grateful for your watch and care over us in this day and bringing us to this meeting tonight. And I pray, Lord, that as we make decisions, help us always to make right decisions that please you and for the betterment of our city we live for. Pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right. I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight. First thing we're going to do is have roll call.
Town of Vidalia Board of Aldermen roll call for the regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen dated January 13th, 2026. Alderman Betts.
Present.
Alderman Gardner. Alderman McCoy.
Present.
Alderman Probst.
Here.
Alderman Smith.
Here.
May I let the record show that a quorum of the board is present and accounted for.
Okay, we have a quorum. The first thing of business we got to take care of is approval of our minutes of the previous meeting. Any questions on the minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion made by Alderman Best. Here a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Alderman McCoy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, open meeting law requires before take any action on any agenda items, the public can speak on any agenda item that's on the agenda. You can't stand up and talk about anything unless it's on the agenda. Does anybody want to make a comment on anything on our agenda for tonight? Okay, if not, we're going to move on. First thing we have is presentation of our financial statements for November 2025 from Ms. Deborah Moak, our CPA and municipal accountant.
Tonight's financial statements include the balance sheet as of November 30th, 2025, the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for the 5 months ending November 30th, 2025. These financial statements have been distributed to all department heads and aldermen for their review. In summary, the town has combined cash in the bank of $5.4 million, included restricted funds of $3 million in the hydro fund and $888,000 in the sales tax fund. Investments are $32.4 million. Hydro fund has $30 million. $1.8 million is in the general fund, and $750,000 is invested in CDs, which are the ARPA funds. Total assets are $77 million. Total liabilities are $12 million. Fund balance is $65 million. The statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance for the 5 months ending 11/30/25 indicates combined revenues of $19 million, total expenditures of $22.8 million, for a change in net position of a negative $3.7 million. Total revenues are at 39% of budget. Expenses, including capital outlay, are at 57% of budget. Personnel expense is at 45%. Materials and supplies are at 47%. Other services and charge is at 73%. The high percentage of other services and charge is due to the $3.2 million spent year-to-date on hydro projects. The negative variance is due to the rebate expense, hydro projects, and costs paid on the water plant expansion. Hydro royalties are expected to be lower at the end of this quarter due to the lower levels of the Mississippi River. American Rescue Plan funds available total amount to $895,000. These funds are to be used to help fund the raising of the water wells along the riverfront. The money must be used by December 31st, 2026, or will need to be refunded. Presently, no date has been set to begin the construction. All insurance costs are on the rise for the town. Beginning January 1st, health insurance rose by 6% without any change to employees' share of the cost. Workers' comp also rose by approximately 30% due to an experience rating that is calculated on a rolling average. Claims were lower this past year, but it may take several years to see a decrease. The auditors have requested an extension from the legislative. The auditors have been requested by the legislative auditors to file an extension due to an additional audit procedures they must perform on compliance. The extension is until March 31st, 2026.
Okay, is there any questions from anybody, any counsel for Ms. Moak? There being none, we're going to move on to number 2, board discussion and approval to advertise for bids on a bucket truck. We do have a bucket truck. Cornell, you want to talk about it? And just a minute, what we're going to do is,
Yes, basically, it's an old bucket truck that we had. It's actually an '07 International. And it's just one of the spares that, we have replaced, and it's, it's just in our way or whatever. So, I mean, it'd be good to, the town to, sell it or, get some monies out of it.
now, we were supposed to reach out to see if there's any sister cities that might have been interested in it. Did you have any interest in that, or was we able to reach out to any about? Did we
No, I
check?
think we had reached out a while back, and we really didn't have no response or
Okay.
whatever, so it wasn't no interest in it. Because I know before, the town of Jonesville, we had, did a CEA, with a previous bucket truck, but this time we hadn't had anybody, so.
All right. Any question from council to approve putting this advertising for bid? Any questions? All right, can I hear a motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Smith. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Alderman Betts, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, next thing we have is board discussion and approval of a resolution to support the local government assistance program, LGAP, for the fiscal year 2025. As you know, this is something we have to, that we get each year, but as a council, you have to approve receiving the money, and that's basically what we're doing here. Are there any questions? Hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Probst. Here a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, next thing we have is board discussion and approval on the resolution of support of the Community Water Enrichment Fund for fiscal year 2025 and 26, basically the same thing. This is something we have to approve each year. Is there any questions?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Smith.
I'll second it.
Second by Alderman McCoy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next thing we have on our agenda, we want to table it. We're going to have board discussion and approval to renew the Doppler notification system for utility outages. But what we were wanting to put together is a presentation. Our next meeting, we're going to have some TV screens in here for people to be able to look at, and also the council as well. Instead of this right down screen, which you got to turn lights out and you can't see, or it's just not a good quality thing. So we wanted to wait because we wanted to show everybody the impact of what that system is doing, and then ask for a renewal at that point. Is that right, Dustin? Is that what we wanted to do? Do you want to add anything to that?
Right now, we're also looking at the next year's invoice to determine that it's correct before presenting.
Okay. And I think Cornell's response been pretty good from the utility workers. That system, has it worked pretty good?
Yes, it's been working very well. The customer, citizen participation is very, good. I mean, it's very beneficial, and it's got some benefits or whatever if we want to add any features in the future. I'm very pleased with it. Just give you a prime example. If Tommy calls, that Doppler or whatever, I'll get a notification. John will get a notification, Keith and Jay get a notification. So everybody is being alerted and everything. It won't go unnoticed, versus if somebody called the mayor or something, he'll respond, he'll call me, and it'll be up to me to broadcast, that notification. So, but it's very successful, and it's making our job a lot easier, so.
Good deal. Any questions? Well, we'll take this up the next month, and after we go over the how many calls were made, how many people were, benefited from it, and we'll make a push for make sure everybody's got that number so they can call and get immediate response on that. And I do try to, if somebody calls, say, hey, look, power's out on Gregory Street or on Peach Street or on Wilson Street, whatever it might be, I try to go on Facebook. I call you first before I do, and you'll either know about it and you usually do, but I'll try to put something on Facebook. But this is something that people, if they call, can stay informed as well. But because sometimes there's a lag when y'all get me information, to let them know what's going on. They can get usually updates because that update's coming from the field itself when they update that Doppler system. So anyway, all right. Next thing we have is board discussion and vote on approval for Vidalia Police Department. We have 3 responses here. We got Nikita McGee for full-time dispatcher, Alfonso Warfield, full-time patrol, and Christopher Davis, full-time patrol. Is there any questions, chiefs here? Any of the council have a question of the chief about any of these positions?
Chief, anybody working already?
Alfonso Warfield is working, Christopher Davis is in the cabin.
And what's his estimated time on?
He just started this week.
And Miss McGee is already on shift? She's working?
She started this weekend, this past weekend.
Okay. She's nighttime or daytime?
She's what?
Nighttime or daytime?
Daytime.
As of now, she's trained.
I make that motion.
Okay, motion made by Alderman McCoy. Here a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, the next thing we have is board discussion on a previously introduced ordinance amending ordinance number 460, amendment numbers 593, 607, and 642, and providing for severability and repeal. Of course, this is dealing with grass cutting. I think we had discussion last time about this. Before we get into it, does anybody have any, we introduced it, and that's all it was. It wasn't a whole lot of discussion, so now we can discuss it. Does anybody in the council want to discuss or
Well,
have any
we had a
questions?
meeting this past week, and we discussed things that we need to look at as far as changing. And there really wasn't a whole lot of changing because as we stated in the last meeting, it was already in process. It was already in place, the fact of no second notices, no things like that. So we came up with a increase in fees was the main thing. Isn't that right? On the legal, I was talking to Brad, which that's basically what we decided in change as far as the increase. There'd been over, how many years was it, Brad? 10, 20, about 20 years?
It's been a while.
As far as I believe it was, like 20 years since some of those.
20 years
changes
since
on those
any of those changes had been made to these fees. So
Yes, sir.
we felt as though that was definitely a change that needed to be made. Otherwise, we pretty much left it alone, didn't we, as far as our discussion?
That would be my advice.
Yeah, that's what we decided to do. Just let the fees increase, go with the process that's already in place, and follow through with.
But we will have to work on is what will that increase be? Is that correct?
Well, we pretty much have it in here, but we'll have it, I say next month. We said we're gonna table it, we thought, this month and then put it in place for next month.
Well, these nuisance fee schedule deals
Yeah.
with just those particular
Right.
matters. Of course, the fee schedule deals with everything from traffic tickets, any type of violation of city ordinance. My advice is that the council look at the entire fee schedule and see if there's any other changes that y'all want to make, not just particularly the grass and nuisance statute.
Right, so that's what we discussed, was the fact that
And whatever
basically we
action
need to look at
council
a lot of fees, because a lot of these fees have not been changed for years, you know?
That's correct, yes, sir.
We got a nuisance ordinance still $50, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Just first fence, $50.
Yes.
That's nothing, you know, for somebody that wants to continue to be a nuisance, you know? I think that, and there are some in this town that want to continue to be a nuisance. So, yeah, I think we need to look at that now. Do we need to form people to look at it or what? But
Well, what we can do is, and this is just me thinking, is to go ahead and get with some of our other cities of like size and look at some of the fee schedule, what they're charging, just to come up with an idea on it. You know, even look at our speeding, everything, looking at everything that we have a ticket for. Let's look at it and see if it's reasonable for 2026, or if it's still locked in 1980 or 1999. I don't know. It just depends. Some of it probably is.
so I think Jay and Marycraft, Jay and
We'll
I
certainly,
even told them how to help them to go and look into these fees that are in other locations that
right.
are the reasonable fees that should be put in place
Yeah.
compared to 2000 or 1999 or 19, whatever it was.
And look, that's great, and the point well taken, and Tommy will tell you, and I said this in our last meeting, our town's doing well. A lot of times, our citizens, and I agree, if it's a nuisance, they need to fill it, so they won't, hey, I don't need to do this, and I agree with you. Some fees and things that people apply for, where it's permits and things of that nature, I don't know if the town necessarily needs to go up on some of those things, because our citizens already experiencing enough as far as high cost of things, cost of living. It's just, when you throw in everything we have to pay for these days, whether it's, you buy something, food, food's high, insurance is high, interest rates are high, wherever we go, everything's high. I think as a municipality, maybe we can soften the blow and help our citizens by doing everything we can to make living here as cheap and reasonable as we can. So, but yes, I agree. We need to look at those repeat offenders for sure that are problems as we go forward. So
Mayor-
that being said,
Mayor Kraft,
Yeah.
I heard you mention speeding,
Mhm.
maybe increasing on speeding.
Mhm.
Aren't we bound by Title 32 as far as speeding is concerned?
Yes, any violation of 32 has a range of $0 to $175 on fines and then court costs. So the major part of any traffic violations will be court costs, probably not so much. Does that answer your question?
And I think that's where we were low, is in the court costs, correct?
Court costs is going to not be set by us, only the fines can be set by.
But that's what okay, so court costs at this point were lower, right?
We can't affect court.
We can't affect it, okay,
just the fine.
just the fine, okay.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Alderman McCoy. Is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Smith, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next thing we have is board discussion on the purchase option for industrial inducement purposes with Louisiana Renewable Fuel Facility LLC, approving the form and terms of which such agreement, providing or other matters in connection therewith. This is for information. We are going to have to advertise this before we actually take it up in public. We're going to have to do 2 advertisements, and this will be taken up at our next council meeting as far as approving the option. And it's basically, we've approved this before. This is just a renewal of that option. So that being said, I'd like to remind everybody, on Monday is Martin Luther King Day. The town will be closed, the offices will be closed, but if you have an emergency or have an outage or anything like that, you can certainly ask for that. So just call and you will be able to, we'll get you taken care of. With that being said,
I think tonight, and this board being this board, the way that we are put together, that the respect that we show for one another is a clear example of some of the spoken words of Dr. King, that we judge each other more so by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. So please, Dr. King holiday, Martin Luther King in Vidalia, runs through City District 1. It starts at, make that turn, that left turn coming off the bridge, and it goes all the way as far as you can go in the city limits. Thank you. That's all I have.
all right, I hear a motion to adjourn.
I make that motion.
Motion made by Alderman McCoy, second by Alderman Betts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.